pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have somewhat of an issue going to Facebook right now. I'll try to resolve that in a second. Ike will be, you put it on YouTube very quickly, or in the morning sometime.
Tomorrow at 10.
Oh, I can. Is there any correspondence anybody would like to talk about? Okay.
I can just make one. I received, there was a letter that was left on my position here, and it was a letter from a resident from the city of Monessen, and they donated $1,000 to our streets department to do whatever they need to do, whether it's equipment or what have you. They also donated $1,000 to our police department for whatever needs they have also. They wish to remain anonymous, but they've done it before, so we just want to let them know how grateful we are, and we appreciate their generosity to the city of Monessen, and I'm sure they'll get something that very much needed for each department. But we want them to know how much we appreciate it and we're grateful to them.
Thank you.
Very good news. Thank you, Lois. Any other correspondence anybody would like to bring forth? Well, at this time, I'd like to invite our solicitor to kind of give us a rundown on quite a few things he's been working on.
Good evening, everybody. The first is with regard to the sewage project. The USDA PNC interim financing closing went according to plan on the 31st of March. The Penvest loan, there was a pre-closing conference today. Everything is progressing accordingly. The one requirement the city is going to have to enter into with PNC and Penvest is called a subordination agreement. That just deals with who has first lien and rights to file against the city in the unlikely event of a default. We'll be getting that document hopefully next week and getting it negotiated and wrapped up for the closing on the 28th. The loan itself will be reduced because the estimates were higher than anybody anticipated the project costing. That's going to be reduced to just over $2 million, correct? Okay. The second item is the tax forgiveness program. It's starting to take its shape. The director of the Tax Claim Bureau, she has analyzed all the transfers that were subject to the program for last year. She does have some ideas to get around the hurdles, depending on which type of property and which part of the judicial cell they're located in. That's really the issue when the city and school district and county have to exonerate taxes. So somebody acquiring their property doesn't lose the property out from underneath them. By next meeting, the school district and the county will have a copy of the plan. It's going to be an outline. And once everybody agrees, there'll be an ordinance, there'll be an application process. I want to talk about that a little bit. As I said, the biggest hurdle is when does the city exonerate taxes? So that system really wasn't implemented. And there's two ways that we're currently vetting to see which will work. The first would be that the applicants would submit an application to the city. There will be a committee formed as well. It'll be a joint committee between representatives of the school district, representatives of the city. Whether or not that'll be elected officials or appointed officials, such as the superintendent or city administrator, that's to be decided. But that application process will have a fee as well to go through everything. All the property or prospective applicants have to do a title search. We certainly don't want to give a property or let a property into the program that has a mortgage, because nobody up here can forgive that mortgage. And even if the taxes are forgiven, there's still an open mortgage. Somebody could lose their property they spent money on to repair.
One question, who pays for the title search?
It will be the responsibility of the applicant. The other method, there is a law for forgiving taxes where somebody can donate the property to the city to get rid of the taxes. This method would require the redevelopment authority to be a partner in that as an agent of the city. Just because the redevelopment authority has less strings attached to how they can transfer properties. And those are just the two methods that we're looking into. Like I said, it's going to have some more stringent guidelines There's been some issues with properties being sold shorter than a year. Things of that nature. There are people living in some of these properties, and those properties aren't up to code. So the city really needs to stay on top of that, and that's some of the hurdles that we're trying to avoid with moving this forward. The plan is to have everything in writing, get it to the school district prior to next month's meeting. Copies will be made available with the agenda as well, so everybody can see the direction that it's going. And that's the update where that is. Like I said, we're going to have a phone call with the director of the Tax Planning Bureau to see what her thoughts are to go through the process. The next item deals with the CDBG demolitions for the residential homes, those properties that were not properly cleared before demolition. One of them collapsed up on Lenawee Avenue last week. It posed some danger to the neighboring property. Luckily, we were able to get the owner of that property to sign off on a hold harmless waiver. And then this property wasn't cleared. It didn't go through a demo hearing. And the mayor and everybody else involved were able to take care of that relatively quickly. So that's part of the problem when you go through these demolitions and they're not cleared. You have to cover your bases. I mean, there was a pretty large risk of liability there if that house would have fallen on the neighbor's house. And the hearing for the remainder of the properties will be at 6 p.m. before the April 28th meeting. And finally, I completed the legal review of the proposed new zoning ordinance. There were no legal issues that I saw. There's obviously going to be some discussion points when it goes to the Planning Commission, and I believe that meeting's in the process of being set up with the Planning Commission. And how that'll work, I think there's going to be 2 public meetings for the Planning Commission. They will either suggest changes to council or recommend it as it's written, and there will also be an additional 2 public hearings in front of council where everybody can take a look at the zoning ordinance. It'll be made available online with the copies here in City Hall, and anybody who wishes to be on record for that public hearing will have the ability to do so. That's all I have for this evening, unless there's any questions.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask our city treasurer to give his report.
Mayor and council, it's the treasury report for the month of March 2022. Garbage fees revenues. Garbage fees current. Collected $24,915.01 this month. Year to date, $294,761.51. Budget amount $370,000. Delinquents this month collected $4,962.74. Report offer received $737.74. Year to date, collected $33,196.47. Year to date from Port Off, $4,639.73. Budget amount $120,000. Housing quarterly. Received nothing this quarter. Year to date, we received $15,258.75. Total budget amount $490,000. Garbage collector for 2023, $785. Budget amount $147,834. City real estate taxes revenues. City real estate taxes current. March, we received $460,856.60. Year to date, $460,856.60. Budget amount. General fund will receive $1,452,449. Debt service fund will receive $394,229. Parks will receive $199,052, and library will receive $42,135, for a total of $2,087,865. Delinquent city taxes. Prior years collected. Nothing this quarter. Year to date, $5,502.96. Budget amount, $9,000. Received nothing from Port Off this quarter. City taxes collected by Westmoreland County. We received $38,231.88. Year to date, $38,231.88. Budget amount $210,000. Total year-to-date taxes, $504,591.44. Distribution of taxes was following. General fund received $351,025.22. Debt service fund received $95,276.61. Parks received $48,106.49. Library fund received $10,183.12 for a total of $504,591.44. Real estate transfer tax, March we received $6,819.90, year-to-date $28,103.97. Budget amount $70,000. Earned income tax, we received this quarter $72,046.96, year-to-date $168,473.72, budget amount $600,000. Mercantile tax, $2,109.73, year-to-date $2,647.56, budget amount $29,000. Local service tax, this month we received $2,923.88, year-to-date $17,571.38, budget amount $75,000. Tax certifications, received $2,750 this month, year-to-date $3,500, budget amount $23,000. In municipal lien letters, we received $1,875 this quarter, or this month, year-to-date $4,575, budget amount $16,000. Line usage account, unsecured payments, March $6,156, year-to-date $10,044. Land usage fee, this month we received $68,335.77, year-to-date $170,419.87. Total amount received year-to-date $180,463.87. Mayor, that concludes my report. I need your motion, please.
Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to accept the treasurer's report for April 14, 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes. For new business,
Nope.
controller. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, could I have a city controller report, please?
The General Fund Community Bank checking account, the bank reconciliation as of March 31st, 2022. The beginning balance as of February 28th, 2022 was $118,439.33. Deposits made were $671,082.20. Expenses, $571,716.50. The ending balance as of March 31st, 2022 was $217,805.03. Outstanding checks, $107,296.64. Outstanding deposits, $8,360.78. Reconciliation balance to the bank statement, $118,869.17. That concludes my report.
Thank you. One of the issues is People Natural Gas tore up the McKee Avenue in the process of laying down some new line, and they made an offer to the city for $145,000. I need a motion to accept that.
Motion to accept People's Natural Gas payment offer of damages to McKee Street during the construction and replacement of gas line in the city of Monessen in the amount of $145,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Let me explain that just a little bit more, just so everybody understands. People's Natural Gas has been going through the city, updating quite a number of their gas lines that are having trouble. Part of the ordinance is when they tear up a road, they have to pay to have that redone. They decided that they would rather give us the money to have it than for them to do it. And it kind of makes a little bit of sense because they only tore up about half of McKee. They started in the middle of McKee and went around the corner up to where it hooks up with Knox. The point being is that would have left a little bit of brick, a little bit of pavement, a little bit more brick, a little bit more pavement. So the bottom line is that it is to our advantage to take that money and to redesign the scope of the project, and that's the next motion that I'd like to make here. But before we go forward, I need to call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. That leads us to the next one.
Motion to authorize Westmoreland Engineering Company to prepare specifications and formulate a bid proposal format and to solicit appropriate bids for the paving of McKee Street. I think it's McKee Avenue though.
I think you're right.
I'll second it.
Is there any questions on this? And this will be from end to end. McKee will be all new pavement from one end to the other. They did the other half of McKee last year. We'll get this second half. So that'll be a big improvement for those people on McKee. Could you call the roll?
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
All right. Motion to advertise and coordinate a public meeting and discussion on CDBG allocation and the proper disbursements of funds of both past and present fund balances and account information for the benefit of programs within the city of Monessen.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Just so everybody understands, in order to do anything with CDBG funds, it requires a public hearing before anything can be done. So I would strongly urge, we will do this public hearing on next Thursday, a week from today, at 6:30. It will be advertised in tomorrow's paper. It will, and I would invite everybody to come because there's lots of ideas that we're going to be talking about.
Are those officials of that organization, are they gonna be here too, or just the county? So we should have them here too.
No, I mean, this is city council that needs to decide what we want to do with this money.
Yeah, but they're involved, aren't they?
Who?
Yeah.
No, no. He actually will be here.
Oh, he
Yes,
will?
yeah, he will be, yes.
Good.
Yes. Yes, and he's important because he can explain
Yeah.
how much of this particular fund you can do for this thing or that thing. So that's very important, yes. I'm sorry.
Next Thursday.
That's the 21st of April.
Today's
No?
today's the 14th, so next, it should be the 21st.
Yes.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday is the 21st.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Did you say 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Excuse me?
6 o'clock.
6:30, 6:30, same time as this meeting.
Yeah.
Do we have a second on that?
We had a second, so we should call a roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
A resolution to make the month of May.
I'd like to withdraw that. For the,
Strike it.
one of the things I was going to do is make a resolution for Motorcycle Awareness Month, which is made historically every year. I'm being a big motorcyclist, that's very important to me. But I'm going to wait till a little bit closer to May before I do that proclamation, just to make it a little bit more sense. Next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I got a presentation here that we're going to talk a little bit about some of our yeah, I'll get those in a second. This is going to take a little bit for this to warm up. First off, my presentation is on the next item, which is the sewer project. I want to talk a little bit, well, where is it? Okay, yes. Okay. Give it just a second to warm up and I'll should dim some lights here so you can actually be able to see. So this is going to be very difficult to read, but I'm going to kind of talk it through a little bit. First off, in 2007, the Mon Valley Sewage Authority did a very extensive study of the sewage system in Monessen. And I think they did this actually in Denora and Monessen. It encompasses about 66% of the sewage system that we have in Monessen, and it involved putting cameras through the lines to do it. And the only thing that's important about this picture that's behind me is everything that's in red was considered to be Category 5. It has failed. Everything that's yellow, orange, is Category 4, which is due to fail in 5 years. Now bear in mind, this study was done in 2007. This has been kicked down the road over and over and over again. We've suffered failures along the way. They've suffered shutdowns at the sewage plant because of debris that's got into the system. We've had sinkholes open up throughout the town. It's been a major thing. One of the things that we made a decision to do was, and this has been something that's been coming along for some time. It was actually started back with Lou, but the loan was signed by Matt Sherraw administration. We're the ones that actually put it together to get the interim loan going and make this project actually happen. So what is this project? If you're going to remember me for anything, you need to understand this, because this is not a park. You're not going to send your kids to play in the sewer system. You send your kids to play in the park. There's other administrations that spent money on parks. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to do the sewer system. And the reason why I think it's important is because without this, Flint, Michigan would be a drop in the bucket compared to what we would have here in Monessen. That the system is that bad, that serious. The DEP has been after the city for some period of time. It's just got to be fixed. About a year, well, October of, we've been paying $27 a month in a line usage fee for well over a year now. That money is really defined to pay for this project. So what does it really amount to? Go ahead and go to the next shot. First off, there's two different projects going on right now, and it's kind of funny because they're called Phase 4 and Phase 3. We're doing Phase 4 right now. Phase 3 will start very quickly. Phase 4 is a project to, well, I got several things written here, but basically Phase 4 was a project to identify the worst of the worst, to solve the major problems, and it was really the ones that are extremely deep, extremely unserviceable that currently. As an example, as I'm told, some of this may be rumor, I don't know, but the line that comes down 9th Street, just as an example, that used to be a stream of some sort that mingered down the hill. And over the years, they coated the bottom of the stream with terracotta, and then pretty soon they covered the top of it and made it a full circle. And then they started burying it with everything from garbage dump that occurred there. I even understand there's maybe a bowling alley that may have been up there at one time. But the point being is, this is now 70 feet down. This is a long time ago. 70 feet down, this line is no longer serviceable. The debris that shows up, and I'll show you the picture. Go ahead and go to the next shot. So this is where it's really three different places that Pinvest is going to be working. The first one is going to be what I call the 9th Street section. And they're going to relay the lines up there. They're going to put them in serviceable depth. They're going to change the way that the lines run and basically greatly improve the throughput up there. Right now, what goes in and what comes out are not the same, and that's just not a good thing. There's a problem in the middle. So anyway, that's part of it. Go to the next slide. Just as an example, this is a picture of the pipeline on the manhole that's just directly above the wall on 9th Street. And you can see it doesn't look right. It's not a pipe anymore. It's just coming apart. And the bottom line is we got some right of way. We purchased a lot up there. We were going to fix that. That is one of the first things that's going to go. Go to the next one. So the next one is going to be, this is hard to see.
Delaware.
Yeah, well, this is really talking about two different lines that we have going here, and they're both shown in this picture here. In fact, go to the next slide, and maybe it'll be a little bit clearer. That one of the lines is coming down from Shawnee Park. This line comes down over the side of that cliff and empties out onto a manhole that's on Parente. This line is another one of these. It's very deep. It's also straight down, and as you can imagine, things that come straight down have a lot of pressure every time they come down from that long decline. They've eaten out the bottom of the line, and it's just become a major issue down there. And this is one they're going to redo. They're going to redo it at a more decent depth at the top. They're going to actually run surface line from the top to the bottom. And this was at the requirement of DEP, that they wanted this to be a serviceable line. They didn't want to see the same kind of problem occur again. Even with modern pipe and everything else, they understood that this was a major thing. Go to the next slide. So the other one is, and this hard to see on this little map here too, but this is Delaware. Delaware runs up there by this house that we had on the way that we just did. But Delaware is a short little street that comes down the side of the hill and ends up on Schoonmaker on a point there. This is one that is also failed, and it's just simply got to be replaced. Go to the next slide. And there's a little bit better identification. We may be able to see a little bit more about where it is, but it's just a short piece of pipe that's going to replace a failed section on Delaware. And just as an example, this is what that pipe looks like right now. You can see all the debris in the bottom of the pipe. It's just, and this debris gets in every time there's a major storm that goes through. This debris gets washed down to the plant, shuts in the plant, and then we really have things backing up all over town. And Frank's Garage, as an example, is a prime example of some of the problems that we have with things backing up. So Pinvest Phase 4 was a $2.3 million project. We went out for bids on that, and the bids came in a little bit better than what we expected. We were able to save some money on numerous other things along the way. The meeting that we had with Pinvest today said, you guys done such a great job, we're reducing that from $2.3 million to $2 million. Now, there is some concern we have because 9th Street is a concrete road. And it has cracks in it because it's just an old road. It starts eroding the soil underneath the road. And in many places, I would almost suspect that the road is being held up by the rebar that runs curb to curb, and that's not good. So when they go cut this road in order to replace the line that runs down the middle of this road, it's going to present some interesting issues. They're going to have to rebuild it up. It'll probably end up being a paved road, and that is, Pinvest made it very clear to us that Pinvest does sewer lines, they don't do roads. So we're going to have some issues there. What they destroy, they have to fix. And if the road is just so bad that it has to be redone, it's just going to have to be redone. So, but those are some of the things that we're watching out for in the course of this project. So in summary, it was reduced from $2.3 to $2 million. The closing is on April the 28th. We're going to start within 2 weeks of that period. We've already gone out for bids. Pinvest is already accepted them. There's just some various setup things that has to be done at this point, but starting very early in May, within the second week of May, we're going to start seeing activity on those lines. Those lines are substantial, and some of them are going to be abandoned, but they're all being replaced. This is not a lining project, this is a replacement project. So you will see some construction going on there. The accounting on Pinvest is somewhat different than it is for USDA. I gave a pretty good, I hope, explanation of the checks and balances associated with the USDA loan, the PNC thing that we're doing last meeting. But this one's a little bit simpler. I think it still has the adequate controls to assure that it's done properly. But WEC will present all invoices by the first Monday preceding the first council meeting of the month. So all invoices for all the work that's done has to be presented monthly by that first Monday. That gives us time to review it, to look at it, that we can vote on it on the following Thursday to approve or disapprove any invoices that we have. Now bear in mind, WEC already has gone through the process of their first line. They're the ones that are getting all the invoices. They make sure that what the invoice is for work that was actually performed. They're the first check. We become the second check, and we'll do that on our first council meeting of each month. Once we get through with that, we give it back to WEC, who then codes it into the Pinvest system. Once it's coded into the Pinvest then takes a look at the same thing that WEC did, the same thing that the council did. They make sure that it's according to what the loan requirements were, that everything's done properly. And when they finally get it, they release the funds to an account that either myself or Tony, as Chief Financial Officer, will be able to pay the vendor. Now, we can only do this one time per month. They will only allow one submission per month. So it'll be up to the vendors to make sure that they follow through, they get us the invoices on time, otherwise it's going to be the following month. But the time period for this entire process should be less than 30 days. We should be able, between the time we get invoiced to the time we pay the invoice, should be well inside of 30 days. The USDA PNC project, that's the phase 3. And this is an interesting project. First off, this one is the one that USDA says that you have to have an interim loan to do the project. This is one we've been talking about. We approved this during the last meeting. But we have now a PNC loan to the tune of $15 million that's good for 3 years. At the end of that 3-year period, USDA pays that loan off, and now we're into a 40-year loan at 1.125% interest to pay off that $15 million, which is really a smoking deal in my mind. But we got to get this project going. So first off, they're in the process of working on getting the bid specifications together. That will be done within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Then it's got to go through a bidding process, and then we'll be off and running. We'll pick the lowest bidder and we're off and running. So what is it we're doing with that? Go to the next slide. Well, first off, they broke this up into several different zones within the city. And it's not real important because what it really boils down to, go to the next slide. What it really boils down to is there is 1,000 manholes, plus or minus a couple, in the city of Monessen. And that interconnects some 100,000 meters of pipe, mostly 8-inch pipe. And this project is really to do as much as we can do with $15 million until we run out of money. So they're going to go from manhole to manhole to evaluate what the condition of the pipe is. If it needs to have something done with it, they'll make the decision of whether this pipe is replaced or whether it's lined. But they will do this on all the pipe, all from manhole to manhole throughout the city. They'll do as many as they can until they run out of money. And then we're back here again to say, okay, we've either accomplished our goal, we've got it all done, we're in good shape, or we've got more to do. Because the overall project this is really only half the budget that engineering said it would take to replace everything. Maybe everything doesn't have to be replaced. We're all basing all the information we have on a study that was done in 2007. By them going to every manhole and doing their own analysis on it, we will have a much better understanding of what the system is in the city of Monessen. I think that's it. I guess in conclusion, just to wrap it all up, I really honestly believe that this will take Monessen well into the future. That these two projects, Phase 3 and Phase 4, Phase 2 is another project that's going on with the equalization tank that's up and that's going to go on Parente, and that's something that the Mon Valley Sewage Authority is doing on their own. We're paying for it, but they're doing it on their own. The bottom line is, I think that we're going to have something that we can go with for a long time. And that's really all I have about that. So let's talk a little bit about $500 for just a second. It's hard to even imagine where to start. This has been a journey. This has been something that we've gone through many different things. We talked about everything from historical value to water that's in the basement to the pigeons to anything that you can think of, all the DEP requirements, the lead, the asbestos, and whatever. It really has come to a point that I think we've addressed everything that's been presented to us. That on April the 20th, 6 more days, they will actually start work on that building. Now, don't expect it to come down very quickly, because when I say start work, they're going to be starting by remediation. They're going to get rid of all the asbestos, which means they got that man lift over there that you see. That means they're going to be going up to all the windows and removing all the caulking from the windows. They're going to try to remove the tile on the floors of each floor. I don't know how they're going to do that. But nonetheless, their goal is to spend probably a week or 2 weeks just remediating that building. And that's important, because if they don't do that, everything that comes out of that building has to be considered hazardous waste. And hazardous waste is much more expensive than clean waste. So if they get all the lead and the asbestos out of it, and that's part of the reason it's taking some time, they had to get all the planning approved by DEP and going, April 20th. Put that on your calendar. Once I understand when they're going to start demoing the building with the excavator that's sitting there, I will be jumping up and down telling everybody exactly when that's going to happen too. If there's any questions about that, I'd be happy to address them all. I really should wait until after the meeting.
Oh, we can wait till after.
Okay. The lady contacted me, and she's really been making a big difference on the key, but she wants to take on a couple lots there. So I need a motion.
A motion to transfer property numbers 20-02-03-0-317 and 20-02-03-0-318, which are vacant lots and more commonly known as 620 and 616-612 on McKee Avenue in the city of Monessen, to a redevelopment authority for a subsequent sale to Christina Campbell.
Do I have a second? Second, Mayor. Are there any questions? This just happens to be a local person who really believes in cleaning up Monessen. She wants to extend and do that with these lots.
Can you call the roll, please? Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Gregor?
Aye.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and permit Three Lions Armory LLC to assist the city of Monessen in the marketing and sale of reserve firearms on behalf of the city of Monessen Police Force.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Are there any questions?
Just thank you to Mr. McFeehan.
Yeah, thank you.
Did he see all that? Can we call the roll, please?
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
We'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the Council of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing rules and regulations for the purchase of supplies, parts, equipment, maintenance, and vehicle maintenance to sustain day-to-day operations.
Could I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Are there any questions? Just to be very clear, we're still very much in financial, we're kind of never came. And this is just an effort to move forward with that.
Lights.
Absolutely, yes.
Call the roll. Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
We'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution declaring the official intent of the City of Monessen to reimburse its general fund and line usage fund used for construction improvements to its sewage system with funds received from the Pennsylvania Investment Authority.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Are there any questions?
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the professional services solicitor agreement and engagement agreement for the Monessen Sewer Rehabilitation Phase 4 project under Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority debt obligation for Joseph R. Delfonso Esquire, the law firm of the Dara Madden Campus PC, in an amount not to exceed $7,500 for the terms of this engagement.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Delphonse, you said that was budgeted for 35,000, you're going to basically do it for,
The budget, I don't know why the budget was set that high for a Penvest loan. That's just,
That's one of the reasons why they dropped the
yeah,
amount
That
from
was much
2.3 to 2 million.
too high. Yeah.
Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. Councilman Orchowski, would you like to give us your report?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to pay for invoices from the general fund in the amount of $84,366.94. All the individual bills are attached to the agenda as attachment A.
Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the invoice to Motorola Solutions, Inc. from the grant fund in the amount of $3,894.60.
Can I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
And there is a change in the dollar amount here, and I'll explain it. Motion to transfer $35,500 from the general fund to the line usage fund to remit back to the line usage fund the total amount of money loaned for payroll to the general fund on January 2nd, 2022.
Any questions? That 500 would be the answer?
That is correct. So we have paid back our obligation that we promised we would, so everybody can breathe this.
Thank you, Tim.
A little bit of relief, but it took everybody, so thank you all.
Call the roll, please.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Make a motion to transfer $146,706.46 from liquid fuels fund to the general fund as the bill is, as it's attached to the agenda attachment B.
Could I have a second? Second, Mayor. Any questions?
And this is prior charges that, or bills we paid out of the general fund that were for salt and things of that nature that could go directly for liquid fuels.
Call the roll.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to transfer $61,916.28 from the general fund to the payroll account for the city of Monessen.
Could I have a second? Second, Mayor. Any questions?
And just so if anybody's curious about that, that is so we can pay our employees.
Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Gregor,
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
After all the transfers and the payment, the general fund as of the 14th, let's say, around $228,219.21. The grant fund as of today has $53,999.93. Payroll still has $18,751.16. The healthcare flex has $7,502.16. The American Rescue, the ARP money, has $70,298.83. Fire escrow has $54,044.83. The parks now has $44,443.87. The rec board has $1,421.79. Line usage now has $61,908.26. Liquid fuels has $235,800.41. And debt service currently has $262,358.84. And Mayor, that's my report.
You still have some bills to pay on page 5.
I'm sorry? Oh, I got
Yes,
it. I got a page number. Yeah, I got it. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, that helps a little bit. Make a motion to pay invoices from the Parks Fund budget in the amount of $20,322.01. All individual bills are attached to the agenda as attachment C.
Second.
Question. Okay. That's $609.90. That was for the front end load?
The $600 you just
Yes.
gave me? Yes, sir, it was.
Well, that shouldn't really be coming out of park, should it?
I'm not quite sure that's where the girls thought it should come out of. Last time I spoke to them.
Okay, just a question on that. Also, I don't think we should pay that bill.
Well, that's curious. I mean, I like everybody's opinion on this, and I called Murphy's.
Well, my disagreement with Murphy is they were called to come down to take a look at the front end loader. And it's making a noise when you apply the brakes. Well, the guy comes down, and this is secondhand, so you have to take it for what it's worth. I was told that they came down, they took a look at it. Well, it's not the brakes. Well, now you have a piece of heavy equipment that when you apply the brakes is making a noise. Well, heavy equipment, when it starts making noises that you can't account for, that normally means sometime down the road, you're going to have an issue. Why is it making that noise? And as far as it not being covered by the warranty, I would dispute that for the simple fact is, you can't tell me what's making the noise, but it's not the brakes. So you're going to bill me for something that you can't tell me why it's making that noise. I mean, after taking your car to parts, sorry Bart, and he comes out and says, well, you know, I'm going to charge you $1,000, but it's going to continue to run the way it was. Well, what was wrong with it? I don't know.
Not disagreeing with you, but let me tell you that I found out, which goes on top of what you found out. So I called Murphy's. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, I called them. And I asked about this, and they said they got a phone call and asked to check out the brakes on the big John Deere. I think, Don, you were good enough to give the mayor the
I did.
information. So I took all that, which it has an 84-month warranty on it. And I asked them, I said, what is this? And they said the exact same thing. They were called, asked to come in. The brake, something was squeaking near the brakes, pedals, something of that nature. They said they dispatched their technician, and the technician said, nothing wrong with it, maybe a little bit of grease in between them, and that's what all it might need. And I said, so why are you billing us? And he said, the warranty is for parts and not labor to come out and take a look at it.
So that was $609 worth of labor.
Yes, sir, it was nothing with parts, it was all completely labor. And I said, how can you ask us to pay something? I said, that's ridiculous. It's all labor. And I said, well, why didn't you tell somebody on the phone that, look, there's a charge for this? Because I'm assuming everybody thought, that's brand new, that's a 2020, so it's new.
Yeah, they assumed it was being under the warranty.
Right.
That's the only reason they were called.
So the thing is, we can hold the check and we can call again and see what Murphy's will do. I mean, that's a council decision what you want to do. I'm certainly not going to just tell everybody what I think. But that's what I found out talking to the person from Murphy's when I called.
Again, the guy came down, did nothing, still making a noise, and his idea is to put some grease in. I think before we pay that bill, we would have Lois and Rodney and someone else.
I think Chief Heppel had something to add to
Well,
that.
in my opinion, I've been running equipment now for about 20 years for the city, and there is something wrong with it. Okay,
You were the one that,
I didn't call.
no, you were the one that relayed that there was an issue. What does it sound like, Chief?
It's not a grease issue.
Does it sound like metal squeaking on metal?
It's a bizarre sound. It's not something that I encountered before. There is something wrong with the machine. He came in, he opened both nuts on both sides of the, checked the fluid on both sides for both wheels. He put them back on, he rode it back and forth. And, he told me, yeah, if you put a little bit of grease in there or something, you know, everything's gonna be okay. So that's not $660. My point is the fact that there is something wrong with this. So you paid a man once to come out here and look at it, and he did absolutely nothing. So now, when it does break, because it is going to break by the sound of it, because it's a bizarre sound. When you're coming down a street like Delaware in an island, and then you have that and you apply the brakes, I'm going to be the one to find out what's wrong.
Is there any pulsing, or when you hit the brakes, is it like pulse?
It's a weird sound, and it's not good.
Oh,
He says that there's nothing wrong with it. I just...
So here's my question then. Okay. Again, when I spoke to him and I explained all that to him, I did specifically ask. I said, okay, you didn't find anything. If our guys find and say this is still doing this, and they want to make the call, or one of us are making the call again, and you ever send somebody out, are you going to charge? And his answer was yes.
Yes.
So my question,
Is there a warranty documentation
yeah,
anywhere?
there is.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes.
I think that they actually bought an extended warranty.
84 months.
They spent
84
what,
months.
160?
$156,000.
$156,000.
And it's for 84 months, but I don't think it contains the labor.
See, I'm in the machine every day in the winter, okay, loading trucks, whatever. And so what I was trying to do, my thought was to tell our mechanic the problem so that we tried to stay away from a big deal in the future.
Would it be okay if we maybe table this motion and have the solicitor review?
If it's $606 to take two nuts out,
I just hold the bill.
Hold
Did
the
anybody
check.
look at the warranty, by chance?
Or-
Yeah.
Did anybody look at the warranty?
Just part of it. I had it on my phone, bro.
We located it out at the city clerk, she helped me to locate it.
Okay.
So,
And they have it, I didn't read it through, I gave it to Mr. Moser here.
My suggestion would be that we pull that bill out and pay the remaining bills.
so
And
my other question is, did we purchase that from Murphy's, or was that directly from John Deere? Because it looks like the credit that we owe is from John Deere itself.
That I couldn't answer.
Because my curious would be is, I know Murphy's probably is one of the dealers, but there's also a John Deere dealer in Delmont off of 66.
I thought that's what we dealt with.
I'll be honest with you, I'd get a second opinion. When something's making noise like heavy equipment, I'm telling you what's gonna happen, something's gonna blow up. Then you're gonna be looking at tens of thousands of dollars.
All right, I'll follow up and try to dig out what we have and see if I can give it to our solicitor to look first. We can pull that bill out, everybody agrees, and wait.
We need an amendment to that
They
motion.
need the amendment to pay those bills, in attachment C with the exception of the Murphy's building.
$609.90.
Would somebody like to make that motion?
So I need to make a motion to pay invoices from the general fund except the Murphy's bill for $609, was it $609? I have it here.
$609.90.
90 cents.
I'll second that.
Any questions?
I gotta pull it out of here.
Call the roll.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Drager,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
That's one of the days.
Okay, I make a motion to pay invoices from the rec board fund in the amount of $1,833.01 as attachment D.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Drager,
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Make a motion to pay invoices from the line usage fund in the amount of $34,106.97 as attached as attachment E.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Drager,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
And I'd like to make a motion to pay invoices from liquid fuels account in the amount of $6,221.69 as an attachment F.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Drager,
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. Okay, Councilwoman Lois Thomas, would you like to give us your report?
Good evening, everyone. Just an update on the community cleanup day that's scheduled for next Saturday, April 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Meeting place will take to pick up your supplies, and your assignment will be at the Anthony Madison Senior Veterans Memorial Park, previously known as 9th Street Park. At that time, you can pick up your vest, your gloves, garbage bags, and then go where you decide to go. The school, Mark Valor, one of the teachers, has several groups that are also participating in the cleanup. The Leo Club and the National Honor Society, and they've also posted out to all the other clubs that if they want to take part, they can also take part in the community cleanup. That at the same time from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. they will also be sponsoring the recycling drop-off event for electronics at the city garage once again. The same thing as last year will be eligible for drop-off, but they will not be accepting batteries, furniture, mattresses, incandescent light bulbs, ink toner cartridges, paint, household hazardous waste, plastics, pianos, organs, medical equipment, small appliances, and vacuum cleaners and rug scrubbers. Everything else besides that, just as last year, will be accepted. Once again, that is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, just want to, that is Saturday, but for those who want to get a head start, start on Monday, start an hour or two each day, whether it's your street, a neighboring street, start doing some cleanup throughout. I mean, and next just looks all like beautiful. So my goal is, hopefully next week they can hit Schoonermaker. What they don't hit, we hit. There are a lot of sidewalks on Schoonermaker from end to end that need the weeds we whacked off the sidewalk. So that also, so we don't have from one end to the other on the bottom and top. Where people come through out Monessen just to see how beautiful Monessen is. You know, we can make our city beautiful because it is. So if we all just take care of our part, you know how they say bloom where you're planted, take care of your own neighborhood. And then that'll do it. If we all just take care of our part, the streets crew can handle the rest. But we gotta take care of our own neighborhoods first. So start whenever you want. Don't wait till Saturday. Start now, start next week.
I think Council Feeney had something to say.
You guys need anything donated or anything? for that?
Yeah, we actually, Westmoreland Cleanways they already have a supply for the streets and parks we'll be picking up next week. They're giving us 100 vests, they're giving us 200 gloves, they're giving us almost 300 bags. So they're giving us a massive amount of things. We're hoping for a lot of people, and it's not gonna stop next Saturday. Well, hopefully if someone wants more, they can come down to City Hall, we'll have them down here. If they want more supplies, they can come get them throughout the summer. As always, we're planning on having another one in the fall, just like last year.
Let me know if you need any more donations.
Okay,
I'll give you.
definitely will. But also just our streets report. The streets report for March 2022, empty garbage downtown, answered 60 PA1 calls, cold patched the entire month, answered several complaints from residents. The sweeper truck was seen throughout the entire town, just weather permitting, sweeping the streets. They got called out for overtime hours 3 times. Throughout the month, the sewer truck broke down and is in the process of being repaired. They also already repaired the electric issue, but now the pump has to be repaired. We also have two other vehicles that are in need of repair. The 5-ton truck, that something's wrong with the rear end, and the salt sprayer. But I was informed by our supervisor of streets that as long as it's done by September, we should be fine for the fall and the winter. And once again, like I told you, we received 2 donations of $1,000 each for the streets department and for the police department. And once again, thank you to those residents who did that. But those are my reports, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman John Nestor, would you like to give us your report?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council, citizens of Monessen. I will give my report at the end of the month if that's feasible. I also want to say I hope everyone has a joyous Passover, a blessed Easter, a Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
I yield the floor.
Councilman Gregor, would you like to?
I'll give my report.
Very good. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comments on any item you so desire.
Linda Lacy, 1624 Maple Avenue. I just want one question answered, Lois. The cleanup crew this Saturday, next Saturday, the 23rd, does that include just 9th Street?
No, there'll be different groups that they can go wherever location they want to go to. Like a lot of times they'll go to 6th Street, 9th Street, Brenny, the main highways, the main arteries. Because hopefully, like I said, everyone will help clean up their own neighborhood, so they'll mostly be the main arteries.
Now, do you have a group of people on the part of McKee that was paid, or that has the issue that's going to be fixed?
You mean the second, the
Yeah.
second half. We won't know until they come down that day, because no one has called in. We don't even know who's going to turn up that day till that actual day.
Right, because when that fire was on Parkway,
Yes.
and you were walking down McKee, it's really bad over there. And one other question, those properties on 616, 620, whatever you said, was that where the old Jefferson School was?
No, I don't think so. I think it's on
No,
the
it's
other
down
half.
the street.
It's on the other half.
It's on the other?
Yeah, it's on the other half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's near close to where, the Littletons used to live. Where Clinton and his wife. It's close near to those, because I think she lives in their house, right? Mayor Mosey?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's near, those lots that are nearer to there. It's on the other half.
And this is for you, Mayor Moser. When you start the 9th Street project, that's gonna go from Madison Park down to Scudamakers?
It's going to go from Alaska Alley down to Schoonmaker.
Okay. Because right there at 9th Street, where it intersects where Morgan used to be and all down the steps, I believe that line underneath there, because this has been like, I know 5 years ago, where they had that little cone in the little divot
Right,
that was at the beginning of going up the
Right.
hill. It was shooting up like a geyser.
right.
But if you follow that all the way down to where the steps are, right where the light pole is, there's another sinkhole there too. And
That
I
explains
think,
why there's so much missing.
Right, so that whole corridor, plus you gotta go from the Ninth Street Park? Okay, now, another question
So
is,
the line they're gonna do is gonna be considerably different than where it used to be. In other words, they're not trying to run through the center of the park or anything else. I don't have all the details about it, but they are laying a new line that ties in to all the laterals up there in such a way that's more efficient than what it was in the past. So it is that line, but they're making several improvements along the way. Where there were several lines that were joining up into a big vault, they're simplifying that and make it better.
okay, and then I also need somebody to come up too, to look over my hillside, because I think it was a couple years ago, Hippo just came and cleared out the vault at the end of my street, the dead end part.
Oh,
over the
yeah,
hillside.
down in the alley.
Well, I think I called Rodney about a month or two ago, you ought to look at it now. They're still dumping them and I can't catch them. Okay, and one other thing, do you have any plans for McKee Park? That wall that goes up Sixth Street?
You mean for when you say McKee Park, are you talking about when you come up 60 and go on the right-hand
The
side?
park, yeah, where the wall is.
That depends on whether we get funding or someone to donate their time to do it. Because that's, you're looking at somebody with equipment to pick those large blocks up and reset them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they
They
put
just
in,
right.
benches and things, but when you come up.
I know you were
towards the
further
street-
up, right, I know,
Yeah.
well, they talked about that before, but didn't come to pass.
And the
I wish
flag-
it would be,
That's something you could bring forward
That
with
part
the
there.
CDBG money
Yeah.
too.
You need to put a flag back on the flagpole too.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mayor Moser, Mayor Moser and members of council. My name's Philip Mandarino. I reside at 13 Donner Avenue, and I'm also representing Frank's Service Garage tonight. I have a few concerns over the sewer project and the repair of the sewer lines. There's already a problem since the satellite treatment facility has been built. And I have 12 photographs, if council would like to review them.
I think it's pretty bad down there.
I'm very aware. Very aware.
And I've been to numerous Mon Valley Sewage Authority meetings, previous council I've met with, and I've yet to get any response from city or Mon Valley Sewage on this issue.
Oh, you're right. That doesn't mean we haven't been considering things. I've been in discussion with the engineer several different times. Now, part of this work that we're doing coming down from Delaware should relieve a lot of the pressure that's hitting you down there at your line. So I think that may help you somewhat. But there's other work that we're going to have to do with there. When's it's going to happen, I can't tell you exactly, but as this goes forward. And I've seen this, I've been down there, and I've seen the water just shooting out of the street. I know it's a problem, there's just no doubt about it. And I'm very sensitive to it, I understand it.
Like I said, it wasn't a problem until a satellite treatment facility was built, and I believe that there's an improperly constructed manhole that the sewage authority installed.
And I know you've gone to the sewage authority with this same complaint, and they've not done anything to satisfy you either. I think the real thing that's gonna take, to be real honest, is to put and something the city's gonna have to participate in, is move a line away from the front of this place, all the way back to the back. And down this way, down the road this way, and get it away from your place. I don't know what else to say about it.
And part of the reason why the issue with the satellite treatment facility is the bricks are coming off of that line coming down to Perenni in Delaware, and it shuts down that plant. So the sewage backs up.
And that's what this work is going to resolve at this point.
But,
It may fix the problem entirely with what we're doing on Delaware, it really might. But if it doesn't, I think that we will have to revisit it by putting lines in different places. I mean, this is that simple.
I think that there's improper, a line that was installed improperly, and the sewage authority is not investigating it. I think Mr. Heppel,
Well, to be honest, where you are is part of the primary point that sewage has run through this city for years and years and years and years. And it's nothing new. Along the way, they made many modifications, mostly by the Mon Valley Sewage Authority, which you contend have worsened the problem. And our goal is to, of course, come up with a solution to that, but I don't know what that is yet. I want to see what this Delaware does. That may be a silver bullet. It may very well be that.
I'll have,
How many times has that happened?
Every time there's a major flood,
Every time it rains?
every time there's a major rain, not just a little rain, but
If you get over an inch of rain.
And you get flooded out, over an inch, and you get flooded out each time, don't you?
I just have a question, but if it didn't start
Until-
until the
that's what he said,
satellite
right.
office or plant or project went into effect, it is obvious that that is a sewage authority issue.
and he's made that point to the sewage authority many times. I'm
Well,
very aware of
maybe he
that.
should have the city and the residents go to the sewage authority.
Well, and I've been there, but yeah, probably needs more of it. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says we shouldn't. It's a problem. We're not, nobody's brushing you off, I promise you that. It's just that I'm not sure that I have a 100% sure solution for you right now today. I think that Delaware stands a good chance of helping immensely, but until we do it, we won't know.
When is Delaware going to get done?
Very quickly, very quickly. They're gonna start in 2 weeks.
So
That's
that'll
the
be
28th.
the first step, Delaware.
Mr. Stayback still in there?
Well, I don't know where they're gonna start.
I hope that does fix it, it'd be awesome.
It would be awesome, but it really depends on why it's backing up. Is it backing up because the plant is shutting down? Is the plant is shutting down because of all the debris coming down Delaware? It's gonna fix the problem. If there's something more to it than that, we don't know.
there were backups when I was notified that everything on both ends was completely clean. We've still gotten water.
Right, well, part of the problem was when they did that started doing that plant out there by you, they increased their controls. It now shuts in where maybe it didn't before. So, bottom line is I hope it works.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I do have one thing that I forgot to mention. We did get a couple of bids on that mower, and I'd like to get that approved at our next meeting. If you could get those quotes to, Tony, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Is there any other public comments to be made?
I don't know if this is a proper forum to bring the subject up. It involves Ukraine. And I have to congratulate the Monessen Independent. They put the flag of Ukraine up there opposite the United States flag. That means someone in that newspaper is thinking of the tragedy there. So I was wondering, I just want to give you just a few words about the Ukrainian flag, which I just looked up. You know, the flag dates back to 1848, and then there's World War I came, and then the flag was not used anymore. Then the Soviet Union took over, and the Russian red flag was hung. But since 1918, '89. The Ukrainians became a democratic country, and their flag came back in use, and that's since 1848. What I wanted to know, if this would be accepted, you know, it's a political statement, but if this would be accepted, I understand it, maybe you wouldn't want to accept this. I'm willing to purchase three by 5 foot Ukrainian flags to be placed in 3 positions. And these are flown beneath the American flag. My neighbor and I are flying the Ukrainian flag to show our solidarity for a country that is just being ravaged, a democratic country just being ravaged by an enemy. My proposal was at Eastgate, the fire department and police department and City Hall, that they fly these 3 flags, Ukrainian flags. Of course, they're not on they would be on the same level of the American flag. But I thought Monessen would shows some solidarity. That this town, who has Ukrainian residents no doubt, this shows some solidarity that we're thinking of that tragedy. And we're hoping that a just result happens. So I just wanted to present that. If that's not an agreement, that's fine.
Personally, I have no objection to that whatsoever. I would like to run it by certain people such as Wayne Vlasic, only because he understands the relationship of the American flag and how it's to be presented with respect to any other flag.
Well, I know how it should be presented. For example, out here in the front of the city building, that American flag should be, it almost looks half-mast. It should be up. It's down by a foot or so. What I've faulted Monessen for are different national tragedies. For example, when Senator McCain died, I had to remind City Hall to put their flags at half-mast. I went to the police station. I said, your flag, that's not our problem. Well, I think the city should be alert to national tragedies when our national government and our state government says the flag should be hung at half-mast for some national tragedy, and Monessen does not do that. In fact, I asked, just a couple of years ago, I asked a woman in the city administration, she had to check the website of Pennsylvania and said, yeah, you're right. Governor Wolf said half-mast. I think it's just an honor, and it shows Monessen is thinking about people, events that are a tragedy for our nation.
I agree.
Well, I think it's a good idea. Perhaps you would like to volunteer to head that committee and make sure the flags are properly flown.
I sure would.
I've seen other areas like Perryopolis are doing the same thing as well.
Well, I think it's a great idea. It's just the problem is having the people to do it. I mean, it's not that difficult. It's just that with all the other things that the other employees have to do, it's hard.
Yeah, I would consider that.
You're understaffed.
Yeah, the city roads department, they.
But you, on the other hand, are retired.
Pardon me?
You're retired, correct?
Sure.
You would be great to head that committee.
Well, I said that would be fine.
Okay, whose bucket truck is he gonna use to go up there and load?
A committee of
You
one.
can do it by string, okay.
The one that's out front of this building, I think does require a bucket truck. We probably need to get the city to get their bucket truck over there and unwind it from the flagpole. It's
Thank you, no, no.
overly twisted.
So if you see me on fighting at a flagpole, you won't call the police on me then, I guess.
Yeah. Very good. Any other questions or comments that people would like to make?
Make the motion, Lisa.
Opposed, in which case, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 7:59.